Do this when they don't reply to your text. The Anxious to Secure Attachment Guide. Whether you're dating or in a relationship, not getting a text back can send your nervous system into panic mode. And your brain immediately thinks, they're probably over me. What did I do? Here's what you'll get today. Why your brain freaks out over when they don't text back, how secure people handle the exact same situations so you can step more and more into your secure best version of yourself, and practical action steps to stop the anxiety spiral the next time. My promise for you today is that you will have, by the end of this episode, exact tools to protect your peace, whether they text or not. No more letting that delivered status ruin your day. By the way, hi, I'm Yula. Welcome to the Anxious to Secure podcast. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or doctor. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or heal any mental health condition. If you're in an abusive relationship or dealing with severe mental health challenges, always seek professional advice. I used to be an expert in worrying about what other people would think about me, chasing emotionally unavailable friends or partners, reading into every little detail, sending long paragraphs, and always being the one who reaches out first. And this doesn't really feel great, but not anymore. Because I finally understood the difference between what an anxious person does versus what a secure person would do in the same situation. We need to understand why we feel so triggered. Only then we can change how we respond. So let's talk about what is really going on here. Text anxiety isn't about impatience. It's about, first of all, lack of self-trust. You don't trust yourself to handle potential rejection. Second of all, inconsistent safety. Your nervous system has learned early on that connection isn't reliable. And third of all, external validation. You have outsourced your worth to other people's responses. But this is not your fault. If you grew up with inconsistent responsiveness, for example, one moment your parents were there for you and the other moments your parents were not there for you because they were overwhelmed, because they were very busy with your siblings or with work, your brain has developed an anxious attachment style, an attachment system designed to constantly scan for threats to connection. It kind of predicts the same pattern that happened back then when you were little, when you felt sometimes your parents were hot and cold. So now you're attracted to these hot and cold behaviors in partners as well. So like receiving a delayed text can be a very big trigger for you. The good news is your adult brain can rewire these patterns by giving yourself the consistency you have never really received. Before we dive in, I want to show you 5 reasons why imagining how a secure version of yourself, how a secure person would react is so powerful. It actually rewires your brain, and visualization is extremely powerful if you've not done it before. First, neural pathway activation. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined. So when you visualize staying calm, for example, after not getting a text back or not fast enough, your brain already lights up the same regions as if you were already doing it. It's mentally rehearsing security. And 2, the more you rehearse in this secure response, the more it becomes an automatic behavior and action and thought. So it's similar to rehearsing lines if you want to become an actor, or football players, they're rehearsing, envisioning, scoring the goal. In the end, the more you rehearse it, the more you rehearse hitting the ball or saying the lines, the easier it becomes for your brain and the more naturally it will flow. You're teaching your brain this is exactly how you will have to respond next time in the situation. And 3, nervous system regulation. Visualization primes your system to feel safer. It tells your brain this moment doesn't need panic. There's no danger here. I've handled this before. I can handle this again. And now I'm an adult as well. I'm not a child where abandonment would be a huge problem. I can handle this now. And even if you haven't experienced this in real life yet, at least you envision it and you practice it. And your nervous system believes you have done this before. So it is possible and you feel more safe the more often you do this. And 4, each time you imagine showing up as the secure version of yourself, you create new neural pathways. You're practicing being that version of you who can wait for a text and not having to reply, who feels calm when there's inconsistency going on, who practices being calm and also later on expressing her needs from a calm, detached way. Breathing before reacting and trusting yourself that you can handle even if things fall apart, you will be okay. Not blaming yourself for, or you should have known better. You should have predicted this. No, you should have not. Self-trust and trusting in other people is a key of being securely attached. You trust instead of chase. And 5 is the embodiment piece. Finally, it becomes real. Thought by thought, rehearsal by rehearsal, and action by action. You become her, you become him, you become that securely attached version of yourself. That secure person who knows their worth, who doesn't depend on other people to reply to them very fast, to reply to you in a very specific way. Try this very quickly. See yourself checking your phone and noticing no reply, or the reply that is not a dream reply. Let's say just a thumbs up, and feeling completely at peace within yourself because you know your worth, you know you're amazing, and you know everything will be okay in your future. Take a deep breath. You can put a hand on your heart and you know everything will be okay. So now let's talk about anxious attachment, how you react in the wrong way. You might be right now staring at your phone like it's life or death, or you're staring at the last message like 37 times over and over again, trying to see, okay, what did they mean with this? Or trying to see the red flags in that message. You're double texting, triple texting, calling your partner over and over again. You're ghosting them first as a way to, self-protect yourself. Maybe you're pretending to be busy while obsessively counting minutes before you can reply next. Why are you doing this? Because your nervous system equates not being texted back with rejection. And that means abandonment. And that means it's something very dangerous and scary for your nervous system. But this is not about the present. It's about your past. So when your caregivers have been inconsistently responsive, your brain formed the belief that love means constant reassurance or people will leave. Inconsistency means danger. So these beliefs stay stuck at the age they formed if you don't challenge them. The 70-year-old version of you is still running with the same core beliefs as the adult you right now. So every time when you panic or double text or engage in your old sabotaging behaviors. And this is really important to understand. It's not about what they do, it's about how you react. If you take action on something that is not helpful for you, you reinforce these old behaviors. It's like when you feel sad and start emotional eating, every time you do this, you then reinforce your old behaviors, telling your brain, if you feel sad, only chocolate helps in this moment, and you have to take this action every time again. And this is the only way how to get out of it. If you are able to sit in the discomfort of the emotional pain and learn to soothe yourself, to process your emotions, and you can do this gradually more and more, you teach your brain, you know what, you can handle this emotion. You don't have to act on the urge of it. By the way, if you're loving this so far, check out my free resources, perfect for this episode. It's called the Attachment Library, where you find, for example, the He Doesn't Reply flowchart, the 5 steps for when your partner doesn't text you back, the worry-free flowchart as well, another great resource for relationship anxiety, a bit more general when you worry about your relationship. Lots of journaling prompts, checklists, cheat sheets, and lots of stuff. So have a look if you want free resources from me. So how would a securely attached version react when your partner wouldn't text you back? So a securely attached person approaches text differently. They're probably just busy. That's what they're thinking, not as an excuse, but as the truth. They think, I know we're good, I don't need to panic right now. They're thinking, I trust the connection we've built so far until proven otherwise. They're thinking, I trust myself to handle disappointment even if it comes. If they're consistently giving me crumbs, I can walk away. I can express my needs. And they're able to set boundaries. And they're also thinking, so this security comes from self-trust, trusting yourself. This is really the key of everything. Handle difficult emotions without being overwhelmed. Second of all, recognizing unhealthy patterns and communicate their needs. It's like, hey, you know what? I would really love it when you respond to me if I send you something urgently. When I text my partner during the day and I need something from him, I know I can rely on him to text me back when he sees the text. Unless I'm just sending him a silly emoji or just a hey, and I know he's at work, I don't expect a fast reply from him at all, or sometimes even no reply. And third of all, and securely attached people also be able to walk away from connections that don't serve them. That is very important. Securely attached people don't flag an unanswered text as a threat. They don't take others' communication styles personally. They deal with facts and not try to predict the worst case outcomes. For example, my partner goes on holiday, sometimes alone or with his friends. He even walked a few times to the Camino Santiago by himself or with friends. So before he left last time, we agreed like, hey, let's check on once a day at least, just so I know he's safe, he's alive, and everything is okay, and just to keep up the connection. But in reality, there were some days we didn't speak at all. No message, no nothing. The older version of myself, anxious Yula, she would have lost it completely, obsessed over all of the things what could have happened in that moment, overthinking, making up the worst case scenarios in my head, or what he's up to. Maybe he met someone, maybe he's hurt. But now, years later, I've worked so hard on myself, knowing that doesn't mean anything. We can have no contact for 1, 2, 3 days and I'm still okay with it. Unless there were signs beforehand that we were going through a big challenge maybe, there were lots of conflict going on and lots of things would have added up. That's different. That's dealing with the effects giving in that moment. I know he was traveling. Sometimes you're not always having a phone available, and he even mentioned to me that as well, that sometimes it might not be possible to keep up contact consistently. And I was aware of this and it was completely okay. But more importantly, I trusted myself. I knew if something had happened, I would find out somehow or in time or when it matters the most, and I would be okay. If he met someone else, let's say, that was where my anxious brain used to go, I would be okay. My worth isn't determined by what someone else does or thinks about me. So instead, I would stay calm, I would self-soothe, I would perhaps get curious sometimes. If I would anxious, I would not catastrophize. By the way, quick side note, if you want to go deeper with this work, check out my self-study course. It's a 21-day mini course designed to help you to stop obsessing over text within 21 days or less. It's a beta round, still available for a reduced price, just 27 euros. So if you're obsessively checking your partner's text or getting ghosted by people and you're always wondering why they haven't texted or are just glued to your phone, know this, you can't change how often they reply. You can communicate this, but it's all about what you do and how you teach your anxious brain to feel calm again, to reassure yourself, to understand why we even panic, why we feel so anxious. So if you want to go deeper and learn to reassure yourself instead of seeking external validation all the time, instead of chasing, check out the course in the description below the YouTube video. So let's go back. 8. Let's talk about the FAIR framework, F-A-R-E. This is a 4-step process you can do, like a journaling practice, when you feel a little bit more calmer. When you're completely spiraling and anxious, I would suggest distract yourself first. Maybe use an ice pack, put it behind your neck, just calm down a little bit. Distract yourself is the best idea, or change your temperature literally with ice. The second step you can do is use the FAIR framework to work on your mindset, on your beliefs, and you should do this consistently. First step stands for F, find the thought. What exactly am I making this silence mean? They're ignoring me. They found someone better. Then the second step is A, ask questions. You want to challenge this thought. Anxious attachment often jumps to conclusions. We only focus on the negative parts. We don't actually realize what is actually happening. So is this a fact or a fear? What evidence contradicts this limiting belief? Maybe they have been consistent until now. Maybe they always reply within just a few hours or even days. What else explains this silence? Work, sleep, family, maybe a dead phone. Come up with all the possible other solutions here, the options. You want to just expand your mind here a little bit, because when we are in panic mode, when we're anxious, we're triggered and we can't think clearly, and we often just think about all the negative options and never allow any positive opportunities or even neutral opportunities. So just be open-minded, just be curious instead of already knowing exactly what happened. And the third step is R. R for reframe. Now you want to, because you've already challenged the limiting belief, you want to allow more neutral or positive thoughts here that are actually based on the facts we just discovered. Like, one missing text doesn't erase our connection. People have their own life and rhythms and communication styles. And my partner often forgets his phone in his pocket, or he only checks his messages, a few times a day, versus myself, I often check it lots of times, and my partner shows love in different ways. I don't need constant contact to know I'm valued and I'm lovable and I'm enough. And then finally, the thought that is the most empowering and helpful for you in this situation. With the fourth step, E for echo, you want to repeat this thought over and over again to yourself in this anxious moment, and maybe in the morning and evening when we are in this hyper suggestible state, for where we can either reinforce our old thoughts and habits or break them off and create new ones. So here you want to repeat this new thought. You want to set a reminder perhaps a few times a day and tell yourself this thought. You can say it out loud in the mirror to yourself. You can journal this thought. You can even brainstorm this with friends and say, hey, am I going crazy? Could this be true? And, say it out loud. The more you say this out loud, the more you activate your neural pathways. And now, of course, you want to also align your actions with your new belief. Gradual exposure therapy. So taking mini steps towards the big action step to warm your nervous system up slowly over time. So first, you want to set up your phone for success. What I do is the first hour after waking up, no phone. Your brain is most impressionable then. So don't have any anxious thoughts. Repeat these neutral thoughts in this time. And do the same thing for the last hour of the day. Before you go to bed, no phone, no texting, no overthinking. Do something positive, neutral for yourself to become the best version of yourself. Here you can exactly do the visualization practice again. Visualize the trigger, but how you would react in a calm way. Then third, turn off all notifications on your phone. Each one triggers a dopamine hit that keeps you addicted to check, okay, what's happening on Facebook, what's happening on Instagram, who liked my picture, and that it's also chasing validation from other people, chasing reassurance, checking who else messaged you, and being in all of these group chats is not good for yourself. 5, tell your inner circle to call you for true emergencies. This reduces the what if I miss something fear, and you can then slowly just check in on your phone just a few times a day versus always opening it up, always just picking up your phone just out of a habit. And now let me give you some gradual exposure therapy ideas for the dating stage, in case you're dating, in case you're single, in case you're anxiously attached, but you want to become securely attached through mini actions. So if you're double texting right now a lot of times and you want to really gradually stretch your tolerance here, for example, day 1, wait 10 minutes until you double text. Notice the urge, but sit with it. Day 3, for example, wait 30 minutes. Remind yourself this discomfort isn't dangerous. And on day 5, you have stretched yourself so much that now you can wait 1 hour until you want to double text again. Celebrate your growing ability to pause this moment, because you're teaching your brain, I can wait for connection without chasing it. Another idea is if you crave a lot reassurance, you want to again delay this practice. So first, wait maybe 5 minutes until you reach out for reassurance. Place in the meantime a hand on your heart and feel the warmth that you give to yourself. Right now you're connecting with yourself. And then the next time stretch this to maybe 15 minutes, maybe then to 30 or 40 minutes once you're warmed up to building the capacity of, you know what, I don't have to get this reassurance right now. I can wait a little bit longer. And you're not telling your brain, I can't do this. You're telling your brain, you know what, I can ask for reassurance. It's okay, but in a few minutes time. And this is kind of reverse psychology, because you don't tell yourself, hey, I can't do this. You do tell yourself, I'm going to do this, but in a few minutes time. You're detoxing from this urgency. Another tip is, if you are having this urge to react all the time, watch the urge without reacting and acting on it. Like, start with naming it specifically. Like, I'm feeling anxious about not getting a response, for example. Then ask yourself, can I sit with this feeling for maybe 10 minutes? Then notice how this urge rises, peaks, and then naturally it will calm down again. If you allow yourself to feel this urge, to feel this emotion, to feel the sensation in your body. And this is how a secure attachment style is developed, in those gaps in between the trigger and the response, when you allow yourself to process all the emotions. And here are some gradual exposure therapy ideas. If you're in a relationship, if you're in a deep committed relationship, or even if you're married, for example. Let's say if you have the habit to over-explain everything, try to say less. Instead of like sending this huge emotional paragraph or trauma dumping thing on them, start with just 5 sentences. Then next time, try to reduce it to just 2 sentences. And then next time, just express it even shorter. Say either, hey babe, I just need some validation right now, and be very short. I had a rough day. Can you just give me a hug? Or, hey, can we go to our favorite coffee shop this weekend? Depends if you want advice, if you want to express a need, if you just want validation, but be very specific and direct. And this is not to say you can't talk to your partner or explain things or share things. But if you have the tendency to over-explain things out of fear, out of anxiety, and go into all the reasons why. Maybe you want to ask for help from your partner and then go on about how hard your week was, how you always have migraines, how life's unfair, instead of saying, hey babe, could you just help me with the bins this weekend? Or can you just cook this week because of X, Y, and Z? You don't have to give 20 reasons. One reason is enough. And sometimes you don't even have to give any reasons. You can just ask for one specific need, and that's all that matters. Usually I've realized that if you communicate something to an avoidant attached partner, they don't even need to know the reason and the why. Versus if you communicate to an anxious or disorganized attached person, they want to know the reason and the why and all of this stuff. But usually avoidant attached people, they are much simpler. They just want to know the basics, the structure, and that's all. Another idea is, when they pull away, you can use the pausing technique. Step 1 is feel the panic that rises up, but wait 2 minutes before you do anything. Just breathe through it. And step 2 could be take 3 really deep breaths, or even better, play on YouTube like a breathwork session. And step 3 is ask yourself, is this actually about now, or is this about a trigger, an old wound from the past? Because usually it's always about an old wound from the past, from the childhood, but we are so unaware about it when we're feeling anxious and triggered and we can't think clearly. And this will help you to realize, hey, it's not about my partner, it's not about the text, it's not about the thing right now, it's about the past. And this will help you to detach from the situation. And here are a few steps you can also do to build gradually your distress tolerance muscle. For example, for 10 minutes, put your phone in another room while enjoying a cup of tea. That's what I used to do a few years ago, when I was a lot with my phone all the time and wanted to text my colleagues and my partner and was glued to my phone all the time. So I just did one thing and put my phone away. Then next time, for 30 minutes, put your phone on airplane mode during a meal with a friend and be very aware of this moment, just really connect with this person. You can do this also during lunchtime. This is even more challenging because most of the time you really want to be on your phone to catch up on all of the things. But if you're actually learning to be present in that moment with yourself, this is an even bigger step to just be present in the moment. You can go outside, sit in the park and eat lunch there as well and just be present with the nature. And next time I dare you to go for a walk for 1 hour without your phone. And this can be very challenging for someone who likes to listen to podcasts, listen to music, who keeps checking in on what's going on with friends and wants to be available for everyone and to reply to everyone's text back right away. But this can be a huge part of the healing journey as well, to remove yourself from this addiction from the phone. And eventually, I would suggest check in with messages only, let's say 3 or 5 times a day. That's what I do as well. Every time you tolerate the discomfort of waiting without reacting, you prove to your nervous system that silence is not a threat. You prove to yourself that I can handle uncertainty. I don't need constant reassurance from my partner. So I thought it's fun to give you a quick 8-step action plan based on what we talked about today. So when you're feeling triggered and starting to spiral, when your partner hasn't replied back to you, or when they said something weird and you're trying to overanalyze what they meant with this, breathe. First step is breathing and find your center. You can do box breathing, for example. Maybe look at a frame or something else. So inhale for 4, hold 4, exhale 4, and hold 4. Second is name the triggering thought. Name exactly what you're thinking, like he's pulling away, I'm too much, he should reply within X amount of minutes. 3, ask, is this a fact or is this fear? Challenge the thought. Is there evidence for this? What else could be true? What else could explain their silence? 4, reframe. Choose a new perspective, a new thought that actually is based on the facts we just talked about, that feels more empowering. This is an old wound, not a current reality. For example, my partner loves me even if he doesn't reply within X amount. Even if they're distant today, I can still show up for myself securely. 5, visualize yourself, the secure version of yourself. See yourself calm, confident, not checking your phone all the time, giving yourself what you need consistently: warmth, security, connection, validation, reassurance. And then 6, practice distress tolerance. Sit with discomfort for 15 minutes before checking your phone. Growth happens in space between trigger and reaction. And then another bonus step is 7. Use reverse psychology. Say it out loud, like, I allow this text to completely control my mind, to destroy my day. I can feel anxious. It's okay to feel anxious. I'm allowing myself to completely panic and spiral over this no reply from this one person. And the more you tell yourself it's okay to feel this anxiety, to feel this panic, and even be sarcastic about this, the more you tell yourself, hey, this is so silly. It's just the text is completely absurd. You tell yourself, hey, you know what? Maybe I should let it go. Maybe I should focus on something that really matters. And number 8, build evidence in your strength. So 5 pieces of evidence why you're okay no matter what. For example, I've survived harder things than this no reply, than this unanswered text from this person. Or my worth exists independently of anyone's responses. I can trust myself to handle whatever comes next. And you might even want to go into specific moments when you survived harder things, when you were super strong, when you showed up for yourself, when you were trusting in yourself and you handled uncertainty and everything worked out fine. Because this shows to your brain, hey, you know what? We dealt with this in the past and everything was okay. So you're not crazy for feeling anxious. You're human. Your brain is trying to protect you based on old programming. Remember, the root of your text anxiety isn't about the text, isn't about your partner. It's about self-trust. It's about your anxious pattern based on your childhood wounds. Every time when you show up for yourself and validate and reassure yourself instead of needing it from someone else, every time you treat yourself with the consistency you crave from others, you create a secure version of yourself. Every time you envision what the secure best version of yourself would do, you become her more and more because you rehearse the steps that it takes to take the right action. You're building the foundation of the secure attachment style to trust in yourself. And your healing happens in those tiny moments between the trigger and the response. That's where you become her or him or that person, the secure version of you who knows they are enough. I'm so proud of you for making this so far. Thank you so much. Don't forget to check out the free attachment library or my mini course. And remember, change in your relationship starts with you. Thought by thought, action by action, and now episode by episode. I'll see you in the next one. Lots of love. Bye bye.